What's up? Tyler from Plugged On. I'm here with a concert review. Haven't done one of these in a while. This time I'm going to talk about Amorphis, Dark Tranquility, Moonspell, and Omnium Gatherum. Saw this at the Baltimore Soundstage in Baltimore, Maryland. And yeah, it was a fantastic show that I'll get to. I haven't seen some of these bands in a while. Dark Tranquility I haven't seen probably since 2016 maybe. Same with Omnium Gatherum. Last time I saw Omnium Gatherum, they were having sound and setup issues, and they had to cut their set short and all this stuff. And so it was good to see them play a full set. Never seen Moonspell before. Amorphis is the band that I wanted to see the most, just because I love those guys. They're one of my favorite bands of the last few years, and really was looking forward to seeing them. And just having, a package like this of just all sorts of types of cool European melodic death metal. Very cool. So let's get into it. Omnium Gatherum. They're a fantastic band. Very much like Insomnium, you could say, if you enjoy them. It's actually members of Insomnium and Omnium Gatherum and all sorts of stuff. But anyways, I really am enjoying their new album, The Burning Cold. I've enjoyed their past 4 or 5 records. I mean, they've had a good track record as of late, and like I said, it was great to see them play a full set. They got to play a full 30 minutes, and they played some good stuff. They played about half their set was new stuff. So they played Gods Go First and Refining Fire. They played Over the Battlefield. That was pretty cool to hear. Especially Refining Fire and Gods Go First. Damn, were those songs, yes, they might be the two most popular songs off their new album, but they really go over well live, especially Gods Go First. I thought that one had a great pop to it when they played it. It has a good catchy sing-along sort of factor that I really liked about it. They opened up with Frontiers, which was cool. They played The Unknowing, which is awesome to hear live, just because of how the pace of that song, everybody's headbanging up on stage at the same time, all their hair is whirling in the same direction. It looks cool, and that's just such a beautiful song. As I've said before in past reviews of them, Beyond is one of my favorite records of all time, and I would have loved if they could have thrown another song or two from that album on there. Don't get me wrong, Grey Heavens is great, The Burning Cold's great. They have great fucking albums, but Beyond is just the one for me. But that was great to hear. They played Skyline, which and they ended with Ego, which Ego's a fantastic song. I feel like they should have ended with Skyline. Skyline had the biggest pop to it to me in their entire set, had the most people going, just because that riff has so much crunch and groove to it when they're playing it, and the singer's just kind of rocking out, walking across the stage singing. They're fun to watch live. I think I do prefer them as a studio band just because I like the production of their albums, and I like how they really get a lot out of that. But live, they have some fun up on stage, and they really brought. I mean, they nailed every guitar solo, and the leads were there, guitar harmonies were there. It was really on point for the most part, and I thoroughly enjoyed their set. Next up was Moonspell. I'm not a big fan of Moonspell. I know they've been around for a long time. I've tried a lot to get into these guys, and maybe this is what will make them click. Sometimes you see a band live and you go, you know what, maybe I should give them another shot. So that's what I'll have to do. But they played for 45 minutes, which I was like, holy shit. I mean, you still have a co-headlining bill. It's kind of crazy how long this show went, which I'll get to. But Moonspell, they were fine. I feel like it took about halfway through their set, and for them to start playing some older stuff for the crowd to really start to get going, and the singer really got going, the band kept going, and got better as they went on. I mean, I was enjoying them. They were thoroughly entertaining. They have some interesting aspects to them. They're an interesting band, honestly. They really mix a lot of interesting styles together. One thing that I loved watching, though, is the bassist. Their bassist just rocked out, man. He was having a goddamn good time. And you could tell all of them were, but especially him. He was just kind of in his own little world, just jamming out. I love seeing a bassist that just jams, you know? And they're up there. They got like a move and a sexiness to them as they're playing. It's fun. It's always fun to watch that sort of stuff. And they had a good time. Overall, I enjoyed them, especially towards the end of their set. You know, that they really had crowd going. So, but like I said, not the biggest fan of Moonspell, so I don't have much more to say there. Next up was Dark Tranquility. So both Dark Tranquility and Amorphis played for 75 minutes. Dark Tranquility didn't come on until 9:50, and they ended at 11. So, yeah, it was a very long show, very long night on a Thursday night. Just kind of crazy there. But Dark Tranquility, this was by a million miles the best set I've seen them play. They just completely brought it. The crowd was into them, and they just had such an energy and a spark to them that night that, you know, it was just so entertaining to watch. They did play a few new tracks off of Atoma, which I think that album has went over really well as time has went by. For them to keep some of these songs in a Dark Tranquility set moving forward, like Atoma, Encircled, Force of Hand, and Forward Momentum. I'm like, all those songs, they could bust them out any time, and I think people will really get into them, especially Atoma and Forward Momentum. To me, those two are the best songs, I think, on their most recent album, and it was great to hear them again live because they really have some good vibes to them. They had an awesome mix of like older stuff as well. What I like about Dark Tranquility is they don't give you a block of new stuff and then a block of old stuff and then back to new again. You know, they really just mix it up and they go back and forth between a new and an old track, and they really, you know, because sometimes you put out a new album, no matter how good it'll be, and I'll get to Amorphis in a second, and people might not be as into it, you know. But then you feel like you have to bust out the old stuff to really get them going, and they just kind of have them going back and forth all the time, and it's good. So, you know, they played Monochromatic Stains, they played The Treason Wall, which was great, The Science of Noise, which was a more recent track, but that's a great live song. One of my favorite Dark Tranquility songs, The Mundane and the Magic, is always just incredible to hear. That chorus is just beautiful. The rest of the song is fantastic as well. Terminus, Where Death is Most Alive, always gets everybody going. That song is hard, man. That opening, you know, breakdown sort of rhythm that they have, and then it always gets me fired up every time Michael comes in and he goes, "This is a ghost town." It's like, yes! You know, because just the energy of that song and to hear that live always goes over really well. The Wonders at Your Feet there in Lost Apathy, and then Misery Crown is how they ended their set, and you know, those are Dark Tranquility classics. I could listen to these guys all day, and to be honest with you, I haven't listened to these guys as much as of late, and so now I'm like, I need to get back on that Dark Tranquility train, because they're a band that I just feel like I can never get enough of, because they have so much good music and so many good albums. And they just really brought it. You know, I love the production. I love the lights. I love the screen that they had playing different sort of things, like videos and all sorts of stuff. It just overall felt very, very good. Just tight, classy performance. You can tell these guys are veterans at what they do, and I'm looking forward. And Michael sounded fucking incredible. Oh my God. Loved it. Their whole set was great. It really was. So finally, we get to Amorphis, and to be honest with you, I thought Amorphis was great. I'll say that. They were great from a musicianship standpoint. They had a very clean sound. They nailed everything. In their set list, I thought was a banger. If you're into especially their most recent stuff, I could see, someone that's more into Tales from a Thousand Lakes, maybe in that era of Amorphis being a little bit more disappointed. But these guys did not come on until 11:30. They didn't end until 12:45. And yes, I know you're at a show, and and there's energy in the room, loud music, heavy metal, all this stuff. But damn, I just worked a full work day. I've been up since 6 in the morning, and I'm sure a lot of people felt the same way of like, motherfucker, could you not have started this show an hour early so it could end an hour early and end at a normal time for a show? This was probably the latest show that I've been to. I didn't get home until 3 in the fucking morning, which I don't even remember that ever happening before. I just thought that aspect of this whole show was just ridiculous. Whether that comes down on the tour or the promoter at the soundstage, I don't know. But I just thought that was a little frustrating. You could tell, too. You could tell that the band just seemed tired. And you could tell that the crowd was tired. They did not have the same energy as Dark Tranquility. Dark Tranquility came out. They fucking busted balls in everybody's mouth. And everybody had just an energy to them. They went hard. And then Amorphis comes out. It's 11:30, 12 o'clock. And it's like, yeah, just a little tired, honestly. And say what you will. I just found that to be a little ridiculous. But, like I said, from a performance, musicianship, playing their music aspect, they were great. They sounded great. Tommy sounded fantastic on vocals. Just completely nailed everything. And to me, like I said, from a set list perspective, I have loved their past 4 or 5 albums. Just absolutely adore them. I like the early stuff too, don't get me wrong, but especially like their most recent album, Queen of Time, I think is one of the best albums of the year. It's one of the best albums of their career. And that was almost half their set. So they opened with The Bee and Message in Amber. Message in Amber is honestly maybe my favorite song of 2018 so far. They played Daughter of Hate, Wrong Direction, Heart of a Giant. To me, those are like the 5 songs that I really wanted to hear anyways from the album. So that was great. The only other one that I wish they could have played, which I know is a little bit of a struggle just because they have other musicians on it, was Amongst Stars. I love that song. But yeah, overall, I thought they nailed it. And those songs have a more melodic aspect to them. They don't really have a heaviness to them that some of the other ones do. But they have a great sing-along factor and all this stuff. And I felt like the crowd wasn't as into their new stuff as I was honestly thinking they would be, because I feel like there's a good buzz around their new album. But yeah, and it could just be because they were on so late too. But they really performed those songs well. Then they played Bad Blood. They played Death of a King off of their most recent album, Under the Red Cloud, which is a great record. Hopeless Days and Silver Bride from Circle, and then Skyforger. Those 2 songs went over extremely well. And then also House of Sleep went over well. That's a great song that I feel like I have not listened to enough, honestly. I need to go back. With Amorphis, I've listened to like Tales from a Thousand Lakes, and I've listened to the last, let's say, 5 or 6 albums, Silent Waters onward, a ton. And then there's the middle of their career that I've listened to. I've listened to all the albums, but not as much as both ends of Amorphis. So I need to fill that gap a little bit more, personally. And then from Tales from a Thousand Lakes, they played Black Winter Days, what they ended with. They also played The Castaway. So, people enjoyed those songs. I enjoyed their set. Like I said, I was just pooped. It's been a long day. I was up for 21 fucking hours. You know what I mean? But they were good. So I hope they come around again at some point and, get to play a little bit earlier, a little bit longer maybe. I don't know. But they did sound good. They don't move around a lot either. They don't interact with the crowd a ton. They're up there to play. And I think sometimes you got to really appreciate that from a band. Mastodon is the one that comes to mind for me, of like, Mastodon gets up there and they'll play for an hour and a half and maybe speak to the crowd twice. Like, they don't give a shit. They're there to play their music, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it was a fine show. Seeing Winter Sun in Name of the Scars tonight on the 12th. I'm excited for that one too. It's a great multiple days of European metal. I love it. Just could not pass these tours up personally. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. If you went to this tour, what you think of these bands, I don't care. Thanks for watching. See ya.